What happens when American police officers face a twisted, terror-bent genius? 3, 2, 1. Two Monument police officers and 3 deputies from the El Paso County Sheriff's Office headed to the scene to handle the situation. After the year 2021, Arum repeatedly threatened and harassed his wife and daughter, leading the mother and daughter to apply for 3 restraining orders against him. By the day of the incident, Arum, drunk and carrying 2 containers of accelerant, broke into his daughter's home, turned on the gas, and triggered the explosion, ultimately leaving 8 officers with burn injuries. 4 of the officers suffered concussions, head lacerations, and multiple fractures. But thankfully, after treatment, they were out of mortal danger. 4 neighbors were caught in the aftermath and sustained minor injuries, but they were fine after receiving medical attention. However, due to the threat posed by the explosion and the fire, the Los Angeles Fire Department declared the building where the incident occurred a total loss, and 2 adjacent buildings were also condemned and deemed unsafe for further occupancy. Including Sheeta's family of 4, 16 people were left homeless. Sheeta's neighbors were somewhat fortunate. Their insurance companies would be able to cover their repair costs.
Spray with the lighter. If he's going to try the same with you guys.
Although the coverage limits might not fully cover the $500,000 to $800,000 repair fees, at least there was some compensation. My stepson used a lighter and hairspray to burn my husband. What if he tries to do that to you guys too? I saw it myself. But Sheeta's family was in a tragic situation. Because the house was intentionally destroyed by a direct family member, it triggered an exclusion clause, and the insurance company would not provide any payout. Furthermore, because the damage extended to the neighbors' homes, the insurance companies will sue Arum's estate and his family, meaning they will be seeking compensation from Sheeta. Since all of Sheeta's family's belongings were burned to the ground, the New York Red Cross provided them with 2 days of temporary shelter, after which Sheeta had no choice but to apply for emergency public assistance. The good news is that Sheeta's case is classified as top priority, shortening the waiting period from 5 to 10 years down to just about 1 year. Alright, that's it for today's video. I wonder what you all think about the skills of these 2 bomb kings featured today. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section. Finally, please like and follow to support the channel. See you in the next episode.
He's gonna burn the house down with the gasoline in his room?
I have to tell you, he looked like he was about to do the same thing to you. Really, you have to get here. Please. Upon arriving at the scene, the stepmother briefed the officers on the situation. The officers knew the risks, but there was no choice. They had to steel themselves and try to talk to Miguel. Watch out for smoke. There's no gas or smoke here, and I'm not going to hurt you. We went in. Knowing he was a high-risk subject, there was no smell of gas or fuel in the room. The officers drew their weapons, ready to react to anything. Miguel, this is Officer Thompson. After calling out for a long time with no answer, Officer Thompson immediately radioed his supervisor to request a search warrant to ensure that breaking down the door in an extreme situation wouldn't be a procedural violation. We know a lot about him. He's a frequent flyer at the detention center, has a history of violence toward police, and suffers from bipolar disorder. He has severe mental health issues. We've dealt with some issues over the last few days. His father said he used hairspray and set it on fire. Hello everyone, I'm Depeng. Today's case takes place in Monument, Colorado. So I need to interview the father.
You might have gotten something out of the kitchen.
My biggest fear right now is that he's going to use the gasoline in that room to burn the house down. Shortly after, officers spoke with Miguel's parents again. I'm so scared. I'm so sorry, Mom. Yes, right here, they always turn into killers.
Gasoline.
What's that?
Odor of gasoline. There's still floating in here.
The threats, they've been happening constantly. If you check his social media, you'll see threats against me, threats against his father. Okay, please give me a second. Man, Miguel's mental state is beyond unstable. From the police psychiatrist to his 2-year-old brother, there isn't a soul he hasn't threatened to kill. The stepmother has reached her breaking point. She's already done more than enough by letting him live there. It's one thing to have him eating their food, but now he wants to burn their home down. At this point, her attitude toward Miguel is like dealing with a household pest. She can't stand another second of it. After Thompson reported to his supervisor, the command was given to force entry. I've confirmed with them. On May 17th, 2025, at 5:22 p.m., Monument Police received a frantic 911 call. A woman reported her stepson. He doesn't have any weapons in there. I talked to him and asked about things in his pockets, and he said the last time he was in jail, they took everything from his room, but they hadn't spoken to him for 32 hours. He might have scavenged something from the kitchen. The officers made one final attempt to call out to Miguel. Just then, the officer at the front caught the strong scent of gasoline. It was an emergency. They had to breach the door immediately to stop Miguel from hurting himself. Do you smell that? I smell gas. Gas? Where? Right here. Yeah, right here. Get ready. Put the shield on the door. 3, 2, 1, go! Miguel braced himself against the door, trying to keep the officers out. However, what the officers didn't know was that Miguel had already lit a Molotov cocktail. The second the officers entered,
I can't hear you, man. Me and Kanye West are like off dated. Okay, I got you. And I'm Kanye West from off dated on the planet.
You can clearly see the lit Molotov cocktail, but by the time the officers saw it, it was too late. It exploded instantly. Thankfully, Officer Thompson had the reflexes of a pro. He shifted the shield toward the blast, blocking the first wave of the explosion. The force was so massive, it actually knocked the shield out of his hand.
No, that was... I'm definitely going to get checked out. Holy shit.
24-year-old Miguel Borja was using a lighter and hairspray to make a makeshift flamethrower. The backup officers rushed in, dragged Miguel and the others out, and secured him. Drag him out! Drag him out! Hurry! 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 Give me your hand! Move! 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 Get him out of there! While the officers were frisking Miguel, the previously silent suspect suddenly started screaming his head off. From his ranting, you can clearly see his mental instability. All right, you better shut up, I swear. Oh, shut up, you son of a bee. Hey, you white people. Look at these people. They're all white. Davis, get over here. Can we get this guy a medic? Right before he was shoved into the patrol car, Miguel finally seemed to snap back to reality. He apologized to the officers and spoke from the heart. Listen.
All right, Miguel, we're going to walk you over to the ambulance, okay?
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Don't carry that dog. I sent my sister a boat.
Don't step over there. Wait. Let me give you... Hand it over. No problem. If you get stuck there, I'm a dead man. If you're stuck, I'll never get out. I'm done for. This is a disaster. Hang on, we're getting out of here. After confirming the scene was clear, the officers finally had a moment to check each other for injuries. He had sprayed fire at her husband. After the family managed to escape, Miguel grabbed a large bucket of gasoline. It's starting to hurt a bit. Looks like you took a hit there. I've been through a blast before. I'm fine. This is just unbelievable. My bomb suit and gloves have holes blown through them. No, I definitely need to get this checked out. Oh, I never expected something like this today. Neither did I. It's really starting to ache now, but it's okay. Having a little trouble breathing, that's not good. Feels like a blast injury, but I don't think I was actually thrown. Oh God. Is there anyone else? All 5 officers at the scene suffered varying degrees of burns. Our eyelashes and beards are basically singed off. Inhaling all that smoke, there's a heavy burning sensation in my lungs. Thank God the shield took the brunt of it. Otherwise, it would have been a nightmare. Look, my beard is gone. It burned it all off. Everything just blew apart. I'd bet that shield even melted. This is really serious. The shield is completely destroyed. The shield used for cover was left behind in the room during the emergency evacuation, melting in the fire ignited by the blast. Unfortunately, yes, Sergeant. All right, Miguel, we're getting you to the ambulance. According to the police report later, there were 6 people injured in this case and barricaded himself in a bedroom. The caller begged the police to hurry. Officers immediately pulled up Miguel's file. Miguel suffered severe burns to parts of his body and was transferred to prison after a week of treatment in the hospital. The 5 officers sustained minor burns and, after receiving treatment, were placed on administrative leave for a major incident. Next, Miguel will be charged. 5 counts of attempted first-degree murder of a police officer, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder of a civilian, 1 count of first-degree arson and assault, but due to mental health issues, the judge will order another evaluation to determine if he is fit to stand trial, which means there is a possibility that Miguel could be released again. But this time, Miguel will have nowhere to go, because after the fire, the Three Lakes Fire Department declared the house a condemned structure and entry is prohibited because the insurance investigators believe that This explosion was caused by the members of Miguel's own family, triggering an exclusion clause. Therefore, the insurance company will not pay out. The Miguel family has filed an appeal and applied for emergency relief funds. If the appeal fails, the family of 4 will be left completely homeless. In addition, one of the injured officers has also filed a formal grievance. They discovered his mental state was extremely unstable. In 2024, he had been charged with assaulting a law enforcement officer. He stated that he had never encountered such a dangerous explosion, not even in Iraq. He felt like he was going to die at the time. He believed SWAT should have been sent to handle such a high-risk situation instead of putting regular officers in such extreme danger. All right, having seen that intense standoff,
You guys good?
and our demolition expert, let's head over to the rugged streets of Queens, New York, to see something even more explosive.
I can't breathe.
At 2:42 in the morning on April 30th, 2026, the NYPD received a distress call. 26-year-old caller Sita Pasalan claimed that her father, 50-year-old Arum Pasalan, had broken into their home through the basement air vent, carrying 2 large bags. Sita quickly grabbed her mother and her 2 two-year-old children. They escaped the house and hid outside. Since she smelled gas, Sita begged the officers to hurry over and check it out. Moments later, 8 officers arrived on the scene to handle the incident. Upon arrival, the officers saw Sita shouting loudly, waking up almost all the residents in the building. In January of 2025, a judge ruled after the officers helped evacuate the rest of the residents, they got the keys from Sita, preparing to enter the apartment to shut off the gas and open the windows for ventilation. However, the officers still underestimated just how volatile Arum really was. Then, the nightmare began. Just as the officers gathered at the door, preparing to open it, the entire building exploded instantly. A massive shockwave blew the outer wall and the officers away. The scene was like something out of the apocalypse. Are you okay? Are you okay? After digging their colleagues out of the rubble, the officers scrambled to escape the scene. By this time, 2 neighboring buildings had been caught in the black. With no time to check their own injuries, the officers immediately began evacuating the other residents. We've been hit by an explosion. Target. Nobody there. Nobody. Are you guys okay? Come here. Come over here. That he was incompetent to stand trial. He was then released on his own recognizance. Seeing that Miguel was a high-risk individual, where are my kids? You're safe now. There were still people inside the house, and shortly after, the New York Fire Department and additional police backup arrived on the scene, evacuating the entire block. 11 people, including 8 police officers, were rushed to the hospital. The explosion had ignited a massive inferno. The situation on the ground was incredibly critical. The flames swallowed the entire house and began spreading to the homes on both sides. Because gas was continuously leaking and fueling the blaze, the fire was extremely difficult to contain. By 4 in the morning, the New York Fire Department had mobilized over 130 firefighters and emergency personnel to the scene. By 6 in the morning, the fire was largely under control. Because the building structure had completely collapsed, the police brought in excavators to search for Arum. Around 9:30 in the morning, police found Arum, who had been burned to a crisp. Following the police investigation report, Arum's wife, unable to tolerate his chronic alcoholism and domestic violence, had separated from him and was living with their daughter and granddaughter.